Okay, it's time to commit. 2024 is the year for prioritizing yourself. Begin your new smile journey with Byte, and you could start seeing results in just 2 to 3 weeks. Just order your at-home impression kit today for only $14.95 at Byte.com. Byte clear liners are doctor-directed and delivered to your door. Treatment costs thousands less than braces, plus they offer financing options, accept eligible insurance, and you could pay with your HSA, FSA. Get 80% off your impression kit when you use code WONDERY at Byte.com. That's BYTE.com. Start your confidence journey today with Byte.
This podcast is brought to you by eHarmony, the dating app to find someone you can be yourself with. Why doesn't eHarmony allow copy and paste in first messages? Because you are unique, and your conversations should reflect that. eHarmony wants you to find someone who will get you. How are you going to know who gets you if people send you the same generic conversation starters they message everyone else? Conversations that actually help you get to know each other. Imagine that. Get who gets you on eHarmony. Sign up today.
Let me ask you a question real quick. Do you ever want to live in a fantasy world where the most handsomest guy always ends up with a girl and he may have time traveled or been a secret prince, but no one in the story ever asks any questions? You can live on Park Ave with a salary from Mickey D's or walk from Denver all the way to New Orleans. But me, I prefer all the reality and the truth bombs drop from the crew at RTP. You got what we need, 'cause these movies are a chore, but you keep us wanting more. RTP, you got what we need, 'cause roasting is your technique. I'm gonna tune in every week. Hey, hey.
You know what? You'll know when I do my joke. I'll just,
Yeah, because you're famously never funny on the episodes, Paige. You throw out so many.
I'm taking a big swing.
Okay. Guys, our audience out there, I know we haven't even started the podcast yet. We're all going to know when Paige does her joke, okay? Everyone's going to notice. You're going to pull over. You're going to stand up and clap.
What? It bombs so fucking bad we have to cut it out of the episode?
That's why I'm building it up. There's no way you can live up to the hype at this point, Paige. But do you want to start the episode, Paige?
Thank you for tuning into Romancing the Pod. You had us at hello. I'm Paige Wesley.
And I'm Todd Schlosser. And this week, I made you guys watch A Family Affair. So, Paige, was this the first time you'd seen this movie?
This was the first time. I watched it today.
Nice.
I had, however, watched the Queens Who Like to Watch episode on it prior.
You mentioned that, yeah.
So I was ready. I do have some thoughts.
I hope so, because we have an episode planned for this movie.
I mean, but I have to get something out of the way first that you built up that is now definitely going to bomb. And I just want to say...
I love that I'm so sorry. I did, as a bit, sabotage this.
I'm going to do it anyway. I'm not going to stop.
I believe in you, Paige.
We come to this podcast for magic. We come to Romancing the Pod to laugh, to cry, to care, because we need that, all of us. That indescribable feeling we get when the lights begin to dim
Paige, no.
and we go somewhere we've never been before. Not just entertained, but somehow reborn together. Dazzling images on a huge silver screen, sound that I can feel. Somehow, heartbreak feels good in a place like this. Our heroes feel like the best part of us, and stories feel perfect and powerful because here they are. Romancing the Podcast. We make movies better. I'm sorry. Thank you for letting me do that.
Thank you for doing it, Paige.
I thought this up 2 days ago.
Just slow clapping. Love it. That was amazing.
Never let it die.
I do want to give you a note. The consistent director in me thinks if you want to do a better job parodying the original, you have to do that. A heartbreak feels good in a place like this as sing-songy as she delivers it. And it is like this. Heartbreak feels good in a place like this. Yeah. Like, she says it like that. It's like crazy.
Heartbreak feels good in a place like this.
Yeah. I'm like, I get it. You're from Australia. Like, we get it. It's fine.
We get it.
Yeah,
we get it.
You
It's
escape Scientology. It's great.
But when you show up in our movie theaters,
taking our seats,
walking around while people are trying to watch a movie.
Oh my God. That's honestly, I loved that intro for the AMC theaters.
It's so crazy. That's why because it's bad. It's as bad as the marketing stuff we were talking about before we started this call.
Paige, we can't talk about it. We cannot talk about it.
We can't talk about it, but it's that bad, and that's why it's so good.
Yeah.
I have no regrets.
That only happens because someone at the top had a bad idea and no one could tell him no.
Emperor's New Clothes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Emperor's New Clothes.
But okay, if you're Nicole Kidman and they back up a boatload of money for you, I'm doing that. I am doing that.
Oh, 100%. I'd do it right now for like $40 just for the shit of it.
And if Zac Efron's backing up a boatload of that cake and I'm Nicole Kidman, I'm going for it, bro.
I mean, so, okay, let's get into movie thoughts because...
Yes, let's talk about it.
You did compare this to the movie that we watched last week. It is way funnier.
It is way funnier.
Very, very funny. This movie is written very funny. There are many things in it that are played for jokes that are unfortunately very real in Hollywood. And I think it's because of that and perhaps my closeness to the industry that some parts of this don't work for me. Most of it does.
It's like when a doctor watches Grey's Anatomy and they're like,
yes!
You don't take the pelvis through the ankle. I get it.
It's not so much that as much as her and Zac Efron don't work for me. And I think it's because I have met people like the man portrayed in this movie and I'm like, run, girl. Run, girl. Those earrings are in the bag.
Oh, you're a real Zara about it.
Yes.
Just because a man gets a little bit of power and a little bit of success, you don't think he can be trusted. Also, he can't be. Zara talks about why. We see a great example of why at the very beginning of the movie. Like, you're right to distrust him the whole time.
It drove me fucking nuts that everyone was like, Zara, you don't really know the real him. And I'm like, if there's one person that knows the real anybody, it is their personal assistant. And I will stand on that. If you want to know how someone really is, ask their personal assistant. And he's a monster.
That's how they found the real Slim Shady when the whole thing was out. They were like, where's his assistant?
Yeah, that's how they found him.
They'll know. Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that, like, in order for you to, like, buy the premise of this movie, it has to show years in the future with them still together being, like, a good family unit. Because I don't buy his change of heart that happens the 30th time he's taken a random woman to New York and LA, right?
Thank you. I do think that's an amazing date. That's such a great date. I did love that. That was great. That was so good.
We get to walk down the streets and don't have to fly 4 hours to New York. Yes. And we get to play dress up Paige. There's no way I'm not having sex with Nicole Kidman under those circumstances.
In the chandelier storage room. Those are the streets we walked on.
I know. I was going to point that out. Yeah, for the food thing in LA we went to. Yeah. It was honestly very cool. I was like, I think I watched Mikey eat crickets right there.
Right there. That was my biggest thing because I love Nicole Kidman and Kathy Bates' relationship so much.
Yeah.
I love her and Zara's relationship.
Same.
Even. Like everything around that one central relationship works for me.
Yeah.
It's just that one central one that I'm like,
yeah.
No.
That's why they have to show you at the end it works out.
Yeah.
They have to show you that the change that Zac Efron amazingly has, like every love bombing / quick releasing boyfriend,
right?
Like who like love bombs you and then runs,
right?
Always has a change of heart a month later as you've like started to get over him and he needs to like put you on another kettle or whatever. So like I didn't buy it at all.
I don't buy it. I mean, compared to the last movie, 34 and 50 does not seem like a crazy age jump to me. That seems way more reasonable.
I think the older you get, the wider the gap can get, and it's okay.
100%. But I hated that she was dating her daughter's boss. Like, her daughter's been miserable and has told her all these things, and she's still like, I think I could change him. Girl, what? No.
But Paige, she does change him. And this is why I always say old chicks know tricks. And we've learned this in the past 2 movies.
Sure.
Both times, our older female protagonist sleeps with their younger paramour or whatever you'll call it.
Their younger male antagonist?
Male-amor or whatever.
Male-amor. Yeah.
Male-amore. They broke it off so good that person was transfixed on their older paramour forever.
Here's what I'm saying, though. You and I both know that whatever they displayed later in this movie, a few months after that, he's going to do some weird sexy HBO show or some other movie and get caught with his co-star in Bora Bora. And it's going to be over. Like that's what's really going to happen.
Well, they're in Bora Bora. Yeah, it's Bora Bora. He's allowed. They're not in the U.S. He can cheat outside the country. Are you not familiar with Zac Efron's rules on date? Come on, everybody. No, I understand, Paige. Like, I think you're right.
Yeah.
It would never really work, which is why they had to show us that thing at the end where it shows, and honestly, it's just him and Zara, I think, sort of being just another funny, silly scene of them.
Right.
But it shows that they're like a happy family unit, and him and the mom are still together. And like,
I still don't buy it, but fine.
I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, it's fine. Maybe they have some sort of like
arrangement,
openish relationship going on. I don't know. He is like rich as shit and like famous, and who knows?
So are they.
I know.
They're
like,
crazy rich.
I know. They have the richest meet cute I've ever seen. She is cleaning for fun on a weekday, and he comes over and they day drink together.
In her library, Todd.
I know.
In her library.
Paige. I know.
Was her husband the Beast? What is happening?
First off, did we ever get Nicole Kidman's character's first name? And so I guess it'd be Belle or whatever. But yeah, like, I don't know.
I'm just, it's that. But the one part that's really realistic about how rich they are is that the daughter is a personal assistant.
Oh, yes.
A lot of people may not know this. That's such a common first job for rich people in Los Angeles. It's so common that Kim Kardashian did it. Like, that's how common it is. And the pipeline from personal assistant to producer, also incredibly common.
Yeah.
One of my friends worked for an A-list actress and had been the personal assistant to 2 or 3 directors before that, and then got the job with this actress, and now she runs that actress's charity. So like, you do end up running the companies if they like you. She also would get closets full of clothes from just everything, and they happen to wear the same size.
Oof.
So she would get all the cast-offs, and then whatever she wouldn't wear, she would go sell at Buffalo Exchange because it was worth ass loads of money. And it was just like, she would sell and be like, great, now I'm going to go have a weekend in wherever because I sold all these fancy clothes from magazines.
Because I sold all these pelts at the Buffalo Exchange.
Right.
All these Chanel pelts.
Yeah. The one thing she wouldn't do is tell them who they belonged to because then I think it would have probably gotten out and been a little weird, but yeah.
Don't they like print the name of the celebrity on the dress that they gave the dress to make sure they're not stealing screenplays or whatever? I don't know.
No, just scripts. They just watermark the scripts that way.
Yeah.
But no, there are some parts of this that are incredibly true to the industry, and the one part that's not true is that he would have turned around and been a good guy.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah.
So.
But that's why they had to show us that future scene. Because I agree. I fully agree.
I also realize that most people do not have the proximity I have where you've seen this kind of thing happen and you're like, he's going to break up with her in a couple months.
Oh, I think everyone's seen their friend date someone who's a fucking asshole to them.
I mean, that's true.
I mean, that's essentially what it is. Like,
yeah.
But I mean, I do agree that like when you're super famous and have been since you were 19, more or less, you're probably always going to be that, So, like, I understand your problem with all that.
Yes and no. I mean, I feel like there's always a George Clooney, right? Where he was like a playboy for forever, and then he married his wife who he loves, who is like incredibly successful in her own right.
Yeah.
And they're this like cool power couple or whatever. And again, I don't know, maybe they're fucked up. But as far as I know, they seem cool. Or like Keanu Reeves, who like is like, I don't think they're married, but they've been together forever. And it's like nice and calm. It does happen. Is it common? No.
Yeah.
It's not common. So, yeah. I mean, he might be Robert Downey Jr. and they might stay together forever.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah. Who knows? Yeah. But this movie should have just been called, like, why didn't anyone listen to Zara.com or whatever? Like, it was so infuriating because she was right about everything, more or less.
It drove me nuts every time. She was right about everything.
Even with the earrings, he said, like, I didn't know what to get her for Christmas, so I thought about just breaking up with her for Christmas, I guess. And then he was like, and then I thought about this great gift I could give her, and then so I got her the gift and didn't break up with her and forgot I had planned that.
Right.
Which is insane. But I mean, I don't know. It's kind of a fun movie. I think it's very funny. Zac Efron is crazy good in it, which is a weird thing to say in a movie like this. but he plays his character that is such a silly character.
Yes.
So goddamn earnestly. It's so charming.
He does. I feel like there are a handful of people who could do it. I do think he does it well.
Yes.
I think you could, Ryan Gosling's a little old at this point, but he would have done it hilariously.
He definitely could do it, yeah.
Chris Evans would have fucking nailed that shit. Like, I feel like there's a lot of people who could have, but he did great.
Put him in a cable knit sweater, baby. He can nail it.
Oh, you nailed me in that cable knit sweater.
Stop it.
No. And I do love some of the movies that he's in and they're talking about and the scripts and they're talking about.
Icarus Rush is so funny to me. The fact that he was filming the third Icarus Rush and
he's filming the fourth.
That's what I mean.
The third's about to come out.
That's right. Sorry. Yeah. So the fact that he's already filming the fourth one and he's never heard of the Icarus myth.
Never. And there's all the characters are named after.
He is Icarus in a movie called Icarus Rush. And he's like, I don't know who Icarus is.
I don't know. I do love that she hands him a copy of Edith Hamilton's mythology because that's like the mythology book. I know there are others, but like if you throw a rock at a writer's house, they have Edith Hamilton's mythology. It's right next to Hero of a Thousand Faces.
You're going to hit the mythology book, an empty pizza box.
Case of Diet Coke.
And various other things before that hits the ground.
Maybe a pile of cocaine, depending on how successful they are.
Oof, yeah.
Yeah. Oof magoof. But yeah, when she's like, I've got a book that'll tell you the story. And I was like, it's Edith Hamilton's mythology. And then she hands it to him and I was like, the hardbound. She really sprung for the nice one.
And to prove your point, she actually has two. So she just gives him that one.
She is two. But like, I have had a copy of Edith Hamilton's mythology on my shelf for 20 years at this point, probably.
Yeah, way before it was cool, guys. Like way before it was cool. Way before mythology was even like a thing, guys. 20 years ago.
20 years ago. Yeah, I feel like there's a million English majors screaming that they also have it on their shelves.
I'm sure.
It was very funny to me that that's what she handed him.
Yeah. I liked it. I also, so like anytime the music isn't like a song, more or less.
Oh, the soundtrack is good in this.
I'll call it the atmospheric music that plays in the transition between scenes as they're like setting up new vignettes or whatever. It sounds like it was taken from like the lobby music at the Broadway production of The Lion King.
Yeah.
But I loved it. Like it's such a sweet, fun little vibe as we transition. But I was like, I could like see Timon and Pumbaa walking out right now.
It's like the intro to the Free Willy theme.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's so good.
Like,
I really. It's such a specific, weird thing to say, but I really liked the vibe. I've never seen the girl who played Zara.
What?
I know I haven't.
What are you talking about? She's been in a million things.
I know. Who is it? I don't know who she is.
Did you see Bullet Train?
Oh, shit. She's in Bullet Train.
Yes. See, this is why you think you haven't seen her. She looks different in every single movie she is in.
Is she the girl, like the like hit girl? Like the girl who's
yes.
like, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
She's really good at Bullet Train, but she looks real different.
Oh, yeah. She looks different in everything. She is very, I would say, racially ambiguous to a degree because she has played a number of
Not to plug a great podcast, but guys, check it out.
Yeah.
It's actually ethnically ambiguous, but sorry.
She played Gypsy Rose in The Act.
Okay.
She was in Bullet Train. She was in The Conjuring, the first one.
She must have been young during The Conjuring.
She was one of the young girls.
Yeah, had to have been. Yeah.
She's in Crazy Stupid Love. She's the youngest sister.
That's right. Oh my, she's so good in that.
Yes.
Shit. Okay.
You've seen her in fucking everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you know what? It makes sense because she's great in this.
Yes.
She does such a good job. I actually preferred this movie as like not like high school coming of age, not even really a like college coming of age, but like a young adult coming of age movie for her character, and I really like it.
She's been working steadily for the last 20 years and is in fucking everything.
So what you're saying is she might also have that mythology book on her shelf.
She definitely does. and maybe it was her copy that her mom gave away.
Oh man, I really did love her in this movie. I thought she was great. And Zac Efron and her, like,
she's great.
I do feel like they're having the most fun on set.
Their chemistry is really fun.
Yeah.
They do have like almost a sibling-like chemistry
Yeah.
that really, really works. And it's because that works so well. Kathy Bates and Nicole Kidman work so well.
I love Kathy Bates in this movie.
She and Nicole Kidman work well. She and Kathy Bates, all of the other relationships work great. It's just the one between Zac Efron and Nicole Kidman that I'm just like, ugh.
And for the record, it's because Zac Efron's it's not gonna work out in real life.
It's not because anyone's doing badly in the movie. It's because I'm like, in real life, who's gonna leave her? Like, that's why.
Yeah.
They didn't convince me enough is all I'm saying.
That's why they have to cheat and show you that it works out. They're like, we're gonna give them the do they stay together? You know, they have to do that because I didn't buy it either at the end.
And you can tell the passage of time because Joey King has straightened her hair.
Well, and she's now like, it looked like she was running his production company in that last.
Yeah, I think she's an executive producer at that point, which, by the way, if you're fucking my mom, I'm not getting an associate producer credit. I'm getting an executive producer credit, motherfucker. You're paying for that shit.
I mean, yeah.
It executive produces a lot of money.
I'm sure it's a lot of money. I mean, yeah. But here's the thing. I kind of felt bad for Zara in this movie a lot because she works really hard. I realized like she's very much a Nepo baby. Everyone's rich as shit in this movie. But she does work really hard for Chris.
Some Nepo babies work really hard. I'm just putting it out there.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah. And living within the world of the movie, right? We do see she is a hard worker. She is trying very hard. She wants to do things. She's trying to make things happen. Even for people who are not like Chris, like her friend who's like a dog walker who wrote a great coming of age script, right? She wants to get that produced.
Yes.
And by the end of the movie, we actually see that's the movie she's working on at the end.
I'm so excited that gets made, by the way.
Yeah, me too. That's great. And so like she does like really find herself in this movie, and I really loved like that character arc for her, honestly. But if you view this as like a coming of age tale for her, I love it because I don't really care that much if Nicole Kidman and Zac Efron stay together. But yeah,
unless he joins Scientology, then I'm like, get out, bitch, run!
Is Nicole Kidman a member of Scientology still?
Not anymore. Okay, not anymore.
I thought she got out.
Although
this is the second time she's dated a very famous man shorter than her.
I don't think it's even the second. I think it might be the third. I don't know. Is Keith Urban taller than her?
I don't know. I think she's like 5'10". I mean, she's taller than I am.
She's a very tall lady. She's a tall queen.
Yeah.
And you know what? Tall queens, date them short boys. They want to climb you like a tree. They will treat you right.
They do. Yeah. I did think it was funny a lot that every time they're walking on the beach together, she is down beach from him and they're still like either the same height or she's a little bit taller. Yeah. Because like she's like fully 3 inches lower in the sand than he is.
Yeah. He's not a noticeably short man. It's just that she's a very tall woman. So I think they're probably about the same height.
Yeah. I think he's like 5'8" and she's 5'10" or something. It's something like that, you know? It's not a crazy difference in height, but it was funny to me on the beach.
Oh, he is 5'8". You are right.
Nailed it. I know my almost short kings, because listen, I am one.
No, 5'8" does make you a short king, by the way.
I think it's 5'7". I think I got in trouble. Oh. I'm technically 5'9". Maybe that's why I got in trouble. But yeah.
You're taller than Zac Efron.
You hear that, short kings? You are just like Zac Efron out there.
I had no idea Zac Efron was 5'8". For some reason, had always thought he was taller.
And you want to climb him like a tree. But Paige, maybe we should go through this movie scene by scene.
Let's do it. We get a montage of Zac Efron being not Zac Efron, but Chris whatever from this movie. And I love that they kick it off with Hot Ones. And in my notes, I'm just like, not Hot Ones. Oh my God.
So it worked, is what you're saying.
Absolutely. Yeah. It also made me laugh because literally the night before at a work dinner, they were like, what if we got like a celebrity or something for like a work convention? Like, who should we get? And it was not, we're not doing that, but like, it was just a fun thought exercise. And I was like, hear me out. Get the Hot Ones guy. We all test out wings. Like, you know how we do wine tastings? Fuck that. Hot Wings.
And he does a Hot Ones with your CEO just for like the crowd.
Todd.
Not for the not for his YouTube, just for the crowd.
Just for the crowd.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's expensive. But that was my pitch. That and a performance by T-Pain. And people were like, Paige is unhinged. Yeah. We love her.
I love it. I'm going to call Steve Aoki to side piece it and throw cakes at people. Oh.
Throw cakes because they've got dairy in them that'll help with the hot wings.
Yeah. Steve Aoki's doing you a favor, CEO. Stop losing your mind.
Here's what I'm going to say, Hot Wings people. You should absolutely make small little containers of the hot sauces that you could just send kits to corporate people so that they do hot ones at work. $1 million idea. maybe more than millions. I don't know. Why doesn't this exist already?
I think it's wild that like it's probably going to be like 40 years in the future. Like the Hot Ones isn't as big as it once was. And now it's just doing the convention circuit. And it's like he's like 70 years old. He's got like 4 divorces. He's fallen on some rough times and he's still doing Hot Ones, but only at conventions.
I'm telling you, that man is one of the best interviewers we have modern day. And he will have his own late night show someday. And I just hope that I get to go on Hot Ones first, even though I know it will ruin my intestines. I cannot wait for that. Like the second they call, I'm like, yes. You don't even have to explain it to me. I will sign your medical waivers. Just let me go on Hot Ones.
Same.
Would love.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I love that they also score this to Sabrina Carpenter's Feather. It's a fucking great song. And they show realistic Los Angeles traffic along one of the streets where I go to work. Like, it's part of my commute. It looks like she's in the Sepulveda Canyon.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, bitch, been there.
Been there.
Yeah. And I do love that her license plate says, ick, bitch.
I know. I knew from that I was going to love the character that was driving that car, and I did.
I did.
Did you know that she was in The Sixth Sense or whatever when she was a little girl? No, Crazy Stupid Love page. Did you know she was in Crazy Stupid Love?
I did. I just read all of that for you.
Crazy, right? I recognized her instantly when I saw her. I was like, oh, that's that girl that's been in so many great things. Did you know she was in Bullet Train?
Hey, y'all. If Todd cuts into this and just makes it seem like he knew who Joey King was the entire time and not that she just has a very versatile face, I just want this to serve as the record. He'll probably cut this part out too, but just in case.
I would never.
Heartbreak feels good in a place like this.
Heartbreak feels good in a place like this. That's what it sounds like. Go listen to it.
They should have respected it when it was on the screen. Maybe they wouldn't have gotten rid of it then. Anyway.
Thank you.
So
brave. It's just, you're so brave.
She's trying to get somewhere. She is late because traffic was not in her favor. Girl, I've been there so many times.
But it's like cutting between this and a scene with Zac Efron, literally saying all of the wrong things you could to someone you're about to break up with. He's like, what we have is so special. I think it's time to take a step. Like, you know, he's like
a big step away from you.
Yes, Paige. But like, he doesn't say that in that moment because he's like stalling for time because she's stuck in traffic.
Right.
I think the movie's trying to play it like he might be asking her to marry him.
Right.
But no, it's quickly like realized as Zara gets past the guy at the door by saying, I'll have paparazzi here before he leaves. And so the maitre d' or whatever lets her in this nice restaurant. But like, she like tosses the box. I love how he like distracts his girlfriend, I guess, that he's about to break up with by being like,
yeah, look, it's Bradley Cooper.
Yeah. And she goes, where? And he grabs Zara throws it. He grabs it, puts it in his pocket and he goes, oh no, it's just some normal person, I guess. Like he says it like it's so derogatory. It's so wild. Like Zac Efron's nuts in this movie and I love it.
Here's the funniest part for me is right before this, he calls Zara and leaves her a voicemail.
Yes.
And it just says, look, I don't know where the fuck you are. Get here fucking now. If you have to sell a vital organ, I need you. And if you have never been screamed at by somebody like that in Hollywood, you haven't really lived in Hollywood.
There you go.
It's a rite of passage to get an insane voicemail that's just like at like 3 a.m, coked out of their minds. And they're like, I need you to get me 13 cameras. And you're like, I need you to shut the fuck up. What the fuck? Anyway, she gets the earrings there. He breaks up with her. This girl takes the breakup like someone who has dated multiple famous actors.
I love it.
Where she's just like, what? Well, thanks for the earrings. And I'm just like, yes, bitch.
Yeah.
Go, get your bag.
Well, she's like sad a little bit. She's like disappointed, but she's not like weepy, right?
No.
And as she starts to like scooch out of the booth, she's like, but I am going to take these because they're nice. Like they're nice earrings.
Yes.
So they're coming with me. And like, I got something similar when I turned 25 from Leo. So like, we're good. I get it.
She's like, they match the tennis bracelet I got from Trump. That's perfect.
That is the Leo to Chris Christopherson or whatever Zac Efron's name is in this movie. I don't know what his name is.
Oh, Chris Cook? I don't remember.
Something, whatever. Zac Efron, yeah.
Zac Efron.
That's the pipeline. That's the dating pipeline in Hollywood.
Oh, God. Anyway, They are driving back to his house in her car where he's singing along to Cher and he's like, Cher wrote this for me. I was like, no, Cher wrote this for herself because she stays a boss-ass bitch and she lost the love of her life and had to rebuild. And you would never understand, Zac Efron. But he's singing along to it. It's pretty fun.
I think it's very funny. He does a great job with it. He's just being very silly. I think it's great that a movie that is essentially about an older lady falling in love with a younger man and that relationship, like doing it upright. I think it's great that Cher's being represented immediately in the beginning because that's the way Cher do.
Hey, as Cher said, Mama, I don't need a rich man. Mama, I am a rich man.
Fucking love Cher.
That's what's up. So good.
Yeah.
Anyway, during this car ride, we do get to hear about the movie that he is working on because 3 is about to come out and 4 is what they're filming now, which is how they do Marvel movies a lot of the time is overlapping.
Yeah.
But the fact that this one's a Christmas movie and he's got like a department store Santa with an Uzi and evil elf terrorists.
Paige, it's Die Hard meets, what was it?
It's Die Hard meets Miracle on 4th Street meets Speed.
34th Street. That's right.
Well,
yeah.
and the first time he says with Speed, I was like, I guarantee Speed was involved in the writing of this script.
Yeah.
But then he's like, meet Speed. And she very, very accurately says like, well, Speed is just Die Hard on a bus. And I was like, mind blown.
She's not wrong. Yeah.
Not wrong. But he also makes her go pick up his stuff from his ex's house.
Which, if you had an assistant, would you make them do that? Because I fully would, yes, 1,000% make them do that.
It would depend on how the breakup went. But like,
I would say for me, it's a dick move. If it was you or another lady, it may be safest to do it that way, you know? So, like, I get that, like, Zac Efron's not a hero for making his assistant do this, but I get why, if you were famous, like, lady, why you would do that.
I'd send a bodyguard to do it. Does that sound crazy?
Well, I mean, yeah, you would send somebody to go get your stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But I do love that he, I don't know if this is a real book, but he's talking about the stuff that he left at her house. And one of them is a book called The Courage to Be Disliked.
Yes, Paige.
Is it a real book?
Oh, I don't know if it's a real book. I certainly don't have 2. Would you like one? I have an extra. That's how common they are amongst me. No, I don't know.
It's a real book.
That does not at all surprise me.
It's a real book. Do I need to read this book? Oh my god, wait, fitness and diet. The Japanese phenomenon that shows how to change your life and achieve real happiness.
Is this book just like be a dick to everybody?
Well, it's freeing yourself from societal expectations.
Oh, okay, that's great actually, yeah.
Here's the thing. I feel like this book is probably, you know how like weapons aren't inherently evil in and of themselves, it's all in who wields them? That's how I feel about this book, where I feel like for some people, yes, you need to not be a people pleaser. You need to be okay with making the decisions that you need to make in the moment, even if they will sometimes make other people unhappy. That's a very real thing. But I think that sometimes these books in the hands of people who are already extremely selfish, it just makes it worse. It's that meme of like, somewhere the most selfish person you know is being told by a therapist that it's okay for them to be a little bit selfish. Like, it's that phenomenon.
But who's holding space for you, Jonah Hill?
But who's holding space for you?
But it's like the way Jonah Hill uses therapy speak. Like, it's like that kind of stuff, right? It's like,
that's what I'm saying.
It's like a tool used incorrectly to hurt somebody.
Yes, exactly.
It's like hitting your face with a wrench. Like, don't.
Yes.
Or someone else's face with a wrench, I guess.
Someone else's face.
Because you're doing it to somebody else. But, like, don't do that.
I don't inherently have a problem with saying that you need to make the decisions you need to make in your life because you need to make them and you cannot base everything in your life on what other people want.
Absolutely.
I think that's very valid.
Yes.
But I also think that some people hear that and go, great, I can be an asshole to everybody.
Yeah.
And like be a little bit of an asshole at times when it calls for it, but not to everyone.
I mean, but the reason it's in this movie is because that's Zac Efron to a T. Like, that's his character. Yeah. Like, he is just a very wealthy guy who's very famous and has been rich since he was like probably 20. Rich and famous since he was probably 20. Yeah.
And it's soothing the tiny part of a conscience that he has left that makes him think maybe I'm not being nice to people in the way that I should. And he's like, just kidding. This book says it's okay.
Yeah, this book says I'm supposed to be disliked, right? That's what this book is telling me?
Exactly.
Because I only read the cover.
I feel like I apply these principles when I dress these days, where it's like the courage to wear things that other people might find ugly. Whatever. Who cares? It's my body.
Yeah.
But he's using it in like, I'm going to make my assistant go collect my belongings from this other person. Oof. Also, I love that he was like multiple underwears, and people sell those.
I don't think he was wrong about that. I do think it was weird for him to say multiple pairs of underwears.
I loved it.
The pluralness of it sort of infantilized it for me, and I hated it. But the funnier line in that for me was the whole bit about Chartreuse being a one of a kind. I only have 2 of them.
That's the next scene. That's not
shit.
this scene, but
You're
that
right.
was hilarious.
That shit, I lost my mind when he said that. It was so funny.
The only time I laughed harder at it was when Nicole Kidman knew what it was.
And then he was like, it's okay, rip it. Because he got a backup. That shit is funny. It's well written, guys. It's very funny.
But he asks her to go get everything, and he's like, and I also want a latte with cow's milk from like a real cow. I don't know if that exists anymore or if it's canceled. And I was
or
like,
if it's canceled or whatever.
That is something you need to specify in Los Angeles, or they be oat milking all over this place. So
I fuck with oat milk. I mean, Natalie can't have dairy, so like we have a lot of oat milk in the house. And if in a pinch, it's not bad.
In a pinch, it's not bad. I don't mind. I know almond milk's not great for the environment, but I don't mind the taste either.
Yeah.
Anyway, we cut to Kathy Bates teaching Nicole Kidman about word economy, which I thought was a more common phrase. And then I said it at day job work the other day, and people were like, that's brilliant. And I was like, where y'all been?
What, word economy?
Yeah.
I've always heard it said as an economy of language or something like that. But yeah, like I've always heard phrases like that.
Word economy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so Kathy Bates, we will find out, is the mother of Nicole Kidman's dead husband.
He died, 11 years ago or something like that?
Yeah, 11 years ago, because Zara was 13 and now she's 24. But Kathy Bates is at her most Kathy Bates in this movie.
She's amazing in this.
She's so good, because she's just like, hey, you haven't written about my son who died, and I know that that's what hurts you because I see the pain in your eyes. And she's just like, but I can never have you read it. And she's like, first of all, I'm a human person, and I know that my son wasn't perfect, but we'll get to that another time. I was a woman who also wanted things for myself. I'm not just this person's mother. I was your editor before. Like, you can trust me. And she's like, I'll think about it.
I love that they even have a relationship at all. And it's sort of revealed that they still have a relationship, even though, I don't know. It's just really sweet the way they interact and like the way that she is like encouraging her to move on from her son who has died. Like it is like, it's just very sweet to have that support and love from like the mother of your former husband, I suppose.
It's very clear that her character cares about Nicole Kidman's character as a person on her own and not just as an extension of her son. And I really loved that.
And I think this movie is a lot about Zara learning to see her mother as a person and not as an extension of herself.
Sure. And not as a reflection of herself, too.
Yeah, I love their like final scenes together. Like I'm weeping in those scenes because this movie is funny and fun, but there's also some incredibly heartfelt, sweet moments.
There are. And the one thing I didn't think they set up as well that they definitely could have, where they just kind of peppered it into dialogue a little bit, is Zara's comparison of herself to her mom.
Yeah.
And feeling like she has not achieved the things that she should have achieved in that timeline.
They sort of get away from that at the end because they do set that up. That's like in the very beginning. Yeah.
Well, but in the end, they try to bring it back around and they miss what I think is probably the most important component of a conversation like that, which is like, first of all, you're a different person and the world is different.
Yeah.
Like, you cannot expect to meet these milestones. It is impossible. You're going to have to make your own way, and your own milestones are good enough because they're yours.
Yeah.
And the movie never quite brings that in for a landing.
No, it's just like she's an executive producer by 26 or whatever, probably. So like, it's fine, guys.
Impossible. Impossible. Yeah. Anyway, so Zara comes home. It's been a rough day. And she talks to her mom and she's like, when did you publish your first book? And she was like, I was 29, but that was still very young. And to be honest, publishing your first book by 29, unheard of even back then. Like that is one of those things that is very rare, and I think there's probably a fair amount of luck in that too, you know?
Oh, yes.
And people don't always account for that.
Paige, you know this better than most, but I certainly do. In order to, like, quote, make it,
right,
you have to have a certain level of talent. And there are so many people who are that certain level amount of talent. So above that, it really is circumstance and luck, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, some people pop and some people don't, but it doesn't mean the people that don't pop aren't also amazing.
Right. Well, and there's also an amount of, you can't expect to make it in the same way that everyone else has.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone is a little different. There's not a one way.
People will reach out to me all the time and they're like, how did you grow the podcast to where it is? And I'm like, we got lucky, man. We produced at a level that I think you have to grow a listenership. And then we got lucky and we met people and we networked. Like, that's really all it was.
Cult Podcast was one of the first podcasts that was only cults. And we happened to launch 3 months before Wild Wild Country came out. We didn't know that was going to come out. Like, we got very lucky.
Yeah.
Like, that is a reality of the industry, is like, we happened to be in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
Call it luck, call it God, whatever you want to call it. That's what happened. There's also a component of, because it has to be your own way and it can't be the same as everybody else, cleverness and thinking about like what you have at your disposal to make it work, which is what I think we see out of Zara later on.
I know, and I love it because I agree completely.
Yes.
I think she does show in this movie that she's a great producer.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
Everything we see of her being a producer, she's fucking nailing it.
Yeah.
And she clearly has an eye for stories and writers, but doesn't have the eye for the right person for the project. Because here's the thing. I think her friend Stella is probably an amazing writer. She's not the right writer for this fuck off superhero movie. Like, that is a whole different vibe, you know?
Yeah.
Not every writer is right for the right project.
Well, I mean, and she doesn't fix the superhero movie, right? Like, we do see them like working on it in one scene and it doesn't really go well because it's not her vibe, you know?
Yeah.
And honestly, that's a compliment.
Oh, hardcore. And I love that this movie, we'll get to it when we get there. The movie treats it like a compliment, which I actually think is really great.
Yeah.
But, you know, she talks to her mom. She's like, I thought I'd be running Chris's company, but I'm just his gopher. I'm just constantly getting his dry cleaning, which again, like I said, her story happened to my friend. It does happen, but she spent a long time
getting dry cleaning, getting coffee. Yeah, that's the job.
Getting dry cleaning, getting coffee, driving her around.
It's a lot like an apprenticeship.
Yes, but an apprenticeship where you're apprenticing for someone who doesn't have that job.
Right.
It's a very weird thing where it's like, it's almost like you're proving that you can handle everything for someone to do something else.
Yeah.
And that proves that you can handle everything for a different thing. But that is a very real pipeline. And so I actually kind of liked that they displayed that in this movie.
I think in today's climate, it is a like risky move to put such a Nepo baby on screen as your hero, but I think they fucking pull it off.
Yeah, because she works hard.
She does. She busts her ass. And just because you were born into an immense amount of privilege doesn't mean you won't work hard. There are like the jokes and probably fair-ish stereotypes about like, oh, you must be a rich man's son because you're an idiot with a lot of money, like that kind of thing. But there are people who actually do grow up with a lot of money and work their ass off.
Right.
And she does in this movie.
Yeah, I think they come in two stripes. They come in the dummy version, and then they come in the Colin Hanks of like, I'm just going to work hard, fly under the radar, and be in Fargo.
Right? But who doesn't love seeing Colin Hanks in something?
I fucking love Colin Hanks, man.
Yeah, me too. He produced a great documentary on Tower Records. Like, I like Colin Hanks.
But you know who you also have? Chet Hanks. This is what I'm saying. They come in two stripes. Another example, if you saw the Beyonce tour documentary for Renaissance, you saw Blue Ivy, her daughter, have a moment of like, I really want to dance with the dancers. I want to be on stage. And Beyonce saying no to her and her being like, I'm going to work hard enough until you say yes.
Yeah.
And she works her ass off for it. And you're so proud of her by the end of the movie because she did it. You're like, yes. But that was her mom being like, no, because you have to work hard. And people who do this work hard. Yeah. And I'm just like, let's go.
And Nicole Kidman's mom does sort of call her on that a little bit in this movie. She's like, I mean, you walked away from like, what was it, documentary film school and like a bunch of other things that are like, I'll say at least in the realm of what she ends up doing. I think she didn't take what I would say as like a normal college route, but she learned things from all of that stuff that I think makes her a great producer and gave her the good taste to find good scripts and stuff like that.
Fun fact, a lot of good producers did not take the normal college route.
Yeah, it's a different job.
Yeah, it's one of those things that there are certain things in the film industry that I'd be like, absolutely go to college for, and other things that I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Anyway, Chris calls her and is like, basically go to the grocery store and get me this one whey protein. Now, here was a weird blast from the past. She walks past and there's a whole shelf of Luna bars, which is what I used to eat when I was on Weight Watchers as a teenager, and I didn't know they still existed.
They still exist. I see them on like airports and shit. Yeah.
They were fucking good back in the day. That was like one of the few like diety things that I was like, these are actually not bad.
I took offense to their shade at Oreo with their different flavors because I love the Oreo lemons. They're so good.
Oh, they're good. I like the mint ones.
I love the mint ones too. Shit, the mint ones are my favorite.
Especially the thin mint ones. The thin ones taste like Girl Scout Thin Mints.
Oreo could come out with like an Oreo cannibal and I would try it. Like it made with real people. I would try it.
Finally, you're ready to be an environmentalist.
Somebody call Al Gore. I'm just saying that's how good they are at making Oreos different flavors. Like, they've nailed that.
Oh, pumpkin pie Oreo? Fuck off. It's like the best. I also like mega stuff Oreos, which is like 3 times the filling to cookie ratio. Every day.
Gross.
All day, every day. So good.
I like them thin, baby. I like the thin
fuck
ones.
the cookies. If you made an Oreo that was just the filling, bless you.
And if you made an Oreo that was just the cookie, in nomine Patri, Oreo Spiritus Sanctus.
It's a Spiritu sandwich cookie.
I think we just came up with their new marketing campaign. Like, I'm a cream, I'm a cookie. Like, that's going to be their new...
Share it with a friend. Anyway, she buys some strawberry shortcake Oreos, which honestly sounded really good. And I don't know if that's real, but I would try them.
I don't like strawberry shortcake, but I would try them because I don't like lemons and I love the lemon Oreos. I feel like we should be getting paid. I feel like we should be taking money for this, but we are not.
Look, if Oreo and Wheat Thins ever want to sponsor me, hit a girl up. I will eat them for life.
I feel like I'm sponsoring them at this point.
Oh, just send me some fucking Wheat Thins and Oreos, please.
Send me free stuff, Oreo.
Please. I'm so hungry. I'm not. I had toast before this, but I'll always eat Oreos.
We did. Like, we got on the call for about 30 minutes while Paige ate some toast and we talked about work drama.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah. It was great. Anyway, he then has this whole conversation with her about, like, I haven't been in a grocery store in years because, like, I can't. And she's like, well, we blew one up in the first Icarus rush or whatever. And he's like, that's not the same, but like, you know, ham. And she's like, do you eat ham? And he's like, no. But this sets up what the ending will be at the grocery store.
Yeah.
But we cut to the next morning and she's ignoring his call and she is meeting up with the other writer in her closet where she's helping her organize that closet for a rich lady. Also a very common writer job.
Yeah. I mean, she's also a dog walker.
Yeah. The dog walker, closet organizer, collect mail for rich people. All of those very, very common. I am also trying to write my screenplay job.
Yeah, I got the impression that she showed up in Hollywood, got lucky, you know, was very good at writing, and she had to support herself, but got very lucky and met this person who has sort of industry connections who loved her script. You know, I think,
there you go.
Honestly, even though she is like organizing closets and walking dogs, by the end of this movie, she's doing great. She appears to be directing that movie.
I think she's producing it, but...
Well, yeah, maybe. I mean, but she's involved in that side of it, and it's not just the screenplay side of it. So she's got back end on it, which she's doing great. Like, they took care of her.
Yes. So she is trying to sell this writer on writing on this action hero script.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I wrote a coming-of-age queer dramedy. Probably great.
It's her own. She wrote her own story as a movie. Yeah. And they're talking, and she's like, Zara is like, yeah, there needs to be more scenes with the dad so that, like, we can get Chris to sign on to do the movie. And that's when her writer friend is like, but it's not about the dad. It's about my coming of age, like, queer dramedy, you know?
This is an exact conversation I had earlier this week with someone who was like, I think you should get an actor attached to your script. And I'm like, it's really an ensemble piece. And I think it would be tough to find somebody willing to jump in. on the basis of being an ensemble and being a character in it that's going to be big enough to get production. They were like, well, why don't you write more scenes for them? I was like, no, I'm not going to fuck up the script for that. But, whatever. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe I'd just email Kathy Bates and be like, do you want to play the mom in this? She'd be great.
She'd be great in everything.
Anyway, she leaves there. She tries to get to Chris's house, but she can't buzz in because he had the masseuse change the code just to punish her.
Yeah, he's a real dick to her.
Admittedly, he asked her to be there at 8:30. She didn't tell him why she wasn't going to be there. Like,
right.
I understand, but this is maybe not something I would fire somebody over. But he's like, I want a letter of apology and a latte. There's paparazzi out there where when she climbs over the fence, one of them, she's like, Joaquin, don't take a picture of this.
Yes.
And that was because she knows them by name. That was hilarious.
I did think it was very funny. I do love that she struggles so much with the door, both getting there and leaving. It's so funny.
It's massive. It's such a massive door. I am like 90% sure that this might be the house that they used as Kevin Bacon's house in the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special. It had the same staircase and the same front. Now, granted, there are also a lot of houses that look alike.
Sure.
So maybe it's not. But it did look kind of like that house. Anyway, she climbed the gate and comes in as basically just like, I fucking quit. And they have it out.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, you wanted me to do this other movie. And she's like, yeah, because the guy that did it won an Oscar. Like, it was a good script and you didn't do it.
It's clear that, like, Zara is, like, looking out for his best interest and he's making all the wrong decisions by not listening to her.
Yes.
And that's been very frustrating for Zara because she's been right a lot, but her boss is fucking up the company,
Yeah.
And it just so happens that the company is him.
Right.
Like his, job as an actor, it's, I don't know.
His brand.
It's a weird industry, but yeah, his brand, yeah.
But this is where he has the shirt that's made out of rare alpacas. It's the softest
Chartreuse or chartreuse or whatever. Yeah.
Chartreuse. And he's like, it's a one of a kind. I only have two.
So fucking funny. I lost it, man.
So
and
good.
he like means it.
Oh, yeah.
He does not understand that what he just said was insane.
From a monk he met in Santa Barbara. And I was like, this is the most real thing that's ever been said in a movie.
Yep.
But she leaves. It takes her a long time to get out because of that giant ass door. But she gets home. Her friend is coming over to pick something out of her mom's closet to impress her boyfriend's parents. And this is where we introduce Nicole Kidman's closet, where she writes a lot for Vogue and they don't pay well, but they send her clothes.
Yeah.
Which, boy, isn't that my life these days.
I do like that they actually give that character, I think her name's Eugene.
Jeannie.
Yeah, Jeannie, yeah. They give her like a full ass arc, even though she's in maybe 4 minutes of this movie. She has like a whole arc to her character.
So good.
And I honestly, like, we could have had more of that. The movie's already a little long, so I understood why we didn't get a lot of it. But I like that they kept that story in there.
So she is there to celebrate that Zara has quit the job with Chris and gives her a super bitch pin, which I love. And I do love that she's like, this is only for promotions or STD results. And she's like, didn't you just test Chris Coke negative?
Yeah. But like, she's trying to keep it quiet because, Mommy Dearest doesn't know that she quit her job today.
Right.
Want to teach your kids financial literacy, but not sure where to start? Greenlight can help. With Greenlight, parents can keep an eye on kids' spending and saving, while kids and teens use a card of their own to build money confidence. As a parent, you can send instant money transfers, set up chores, automate allowance, and more. It's a convenient way to run your household, customized to your family's needs, and the easy way to raise financially smart kids. Get started with Greenlight today and get your first month free at greenlight.com/Wondery.
Everyone has moments in life they can't just stop thinking about. They can be embarrassing things, like that one time you face planted in front of a group of teenagers, or something amazing like the first time you hosted your family for the holidays. And on Baby, This is Keke Palmer, hosted by me, Keke Palmer, and presented by BMW, we know to savor the good memories and let go of the bad. And one thing everyone remembers fondly is their first time behind the wheel of a BMW. So come join me and BMW this summer as we explore pop culture moments and topics you just can't stop thinking about on Baby, This is Keke Palmer, sponsored by BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
But we find a dress for Jeannie. And then after Jeannie leaves, she goes downstairs to talk to her mom and tells her immediately that she quit the job.
Yeah.
She's not hiding it for long. But she's like, what should I do with my life? And her mom is like, only you can answer that. So like, that you're going to have to figure it out. And she just goes, fine, I'm taking a shower. We cut to what Zac Efron is doing that night, which is making his dogs waffles.
It's actually the first time you see him on screen and you're like, oh, maybe he's not a full-on asshole.
Right, because they're fun dog waffles. He does kiss one of those dogs on the mouth later.
Sometimes my dogs kiss me on the mouth and I don't love it, but it happens sometimes.
I try to actively avoid it because we don't know each other like that.
Yeah, I don't love it either, but my dog Schnucka will lick you as much as she can lick you. So like sometimes she I'll be asleep and she'll crawl up next to me and get me like right in the mouth and I'm like, ah! I'm waking up make it like it's terrible. I don't like it. But I'm like, okay, I'll feed you. I'll feed you. Calm down.
Cats just step on your face. They're just like, is this where your brain is? Allow me to put my foot there.
I would prefer that than like a wet tongue.
I will say one time, like a couple times back when we still had Dennis, I would fall asleep and wake up to a paw in my mouth because my mouth had been open while I was falling asleep. And you're just like, ha ha. Like, what is happening?
Paige, you are giving so much ammunition to anyone you go up to in roast battle right now. You know that, right?
They don't listen to this shit. Anyway, we cut to the next day where Nicole Kidman is reorganizing the library. And this is the point at which I realized this movie is technically a Christmas movie.
It is, yeah. It's an LA Christmas movie, so like there's no real snow.
So you had no idea until you saw a Christmas tree?
Yeah.
Very fun.
It is.
Anyway, he just walks into the fucking house.
Yeah, that's what you do. You're famous. He literally says it. He's like, oh, I'm famous, so I just usually walk in if it's unlocked. And she's like, Zara won't be back for a while. And they start drinking tequila, but I feel like after everything she knows about him, I wouldn't have had him wait in the house. Like, it seemed strange to me that she entertained this at all. Okay. I thought her reaction to his request was like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
But I guess. But I mean, she's rich as shit. She's cleaning for fun. Like, she's going to drink tequila and eat chips with this guy and then bang him. But like, she doesn't have anything else going on. She's rich as shit. I don't know. Let her live her life.
I know she's bored. And here's the thing. Not to say that she cannot find her own happiness, but I'm like, you know that this man was cruel to your kid.
Oh, yeah, no, I know. But like his abs, though, they're like King's Hawaiian rolls, Paige. It's like a 9-pack.
Yeah, but like at a certain point, this really is where it took off for me that I didn't like the two of them because I'm like, she knows he's awful. Like, her daughters told her this. So, like, it's making me not like her as a character that she knowingly is doing this with someone that she knows is awful. And I think the movie tries to play it as, like, her daughter hasn't told her enough, so maybe she doesn't know. But I'm like, you see, your daughter lives in your house.
Yeah.
Like, there'd be some awareness of this.
Yeah, I do think Nicole Kidman is a villain for sleeping with her daughter's boss to get him to promote her to, like, associate producer. Yeah. She's a villain for taking one for the team, Paige. Let's go after the older lady who's just trying to do her daughter a good one by getting some sweet D, Paige.
I mean, I have had bosses that I did not like, and if I found out someone that I knew was like, I'm dating that boss, I'd be like, betrayal. Like, you knew what they did. Like, that's the part that's not present in The Idea of You.
Right.
That is in this one.
Yeah.
And I think The Idea of You handles it a little bit better where, like, he wasn't the one the daughter had a crush on. She doesn't really know him or have a ton of feelings about it. It is just a weird coincidence.
Yeah.
But in this one, it's like, girl, why are you surprised she mad? Like, come on.
It is really weird. Like, I do feel bad for Zara because it is weird.
Yeah, it is weird.
I'd be real upset if my mom started banging my boss, even though my boss is great.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I'm like, that's too close.
Yeah.
It's too close to my life. But this is where she gives him Edith Hamilton's mythology because he doesn't know anything about Icarus, even though he's 3 movies in.
He's filming the 4th.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't know what his name is Icarus in the movies.
Yeah.
He's Icarus. He should know. Someone should have told him.
Yes. Now, he does say Zara thinks it should be a new writer, and she's like, Zara's really smart about that and has a good eye. So I do like that she's like advocating for Zara in this moment.
Yeah, I think initially she sees this as a way to like sway him into actually like making his daughter an associate producer. I don't really think she expects it to turn to sex.
Yeah.
You know, at this point at least, you know.
Right.
I just think she's like, yeah, you should listen to my daughter. She's actually really great.
Which I have no problem with that.
No,
it's
I
the
love
stuff
it.
that happens after. And I'm like, girl, come on.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think this moment is genuine for her. I think she really doesn't think it. Yeah.
But I do love the conversation about his quads. This was so funny to me because he's like, they thought my quads were fake and they called me the quad father and I had to sue them. He feels real, right? And he's like, I did have surgery. Like, where he was fully lying about it.
Well, he's talking about his jawline surgery or whatever, but yeah.
I mean, he doesn't say that. He just says, I did have surgery. And then he's like, you smell really good. It's Shiseido sunscreen. I was like, oh, homegirl is rich.
Yeah, she's very rich. You saw her house page. We're in it right now in this scene.
I know.
She's very rich.
But this is where they end up kissing. And I was like, no,
Yeah.
he's awful. Meanwhile, Zara's on her way home and they're all over the house. And I do love that they get to the bedroom and he's like, how nice is this dress? And she was like, 50% off at Nordstrom Rack. And he was like, great.
Yeah,
Just
he like rips it.
it.
Yeah.
And she's like, is this a chatouche?
Yeah. And he's like, it's fine, rip it. Because he knows and we know he's got a backup chartreuse or whatever it's called.
Yeah. It's one of a kind. I only have two.
So funny.
Anyway, Zara comes home, walks into them, chokes on a grape, screams, gets a head injury. This is not good. She's concussed.
Yeah, I mean, she walks in expecting to talk to her mom in her mom's bedroom, but finds her mom naked on top of Zac Efron, her boss.
Yeah.
As she's eating this grape. So she's like choking on it. She does spit it back out, screams, and then tries to run out of the room, but hits the door frame with her head, falls on the ground, and then they run over undressed more or less.
Yes.
To like make sure she's okay. And the way she reacts to seeing a half-naked Zac Efron is, I think, the funniest. Because she is like dry. It's grossing her out so much, she's dry heaving.
Right.
It is like, oh God, too much skin. Get him away from me. I can't, no.
Ugh.
It's so funny. She's so funny in this movie.
It's so good. But they take her to her pediatrician.
Yes.
Because... Again, I think we're dealing with a little bit of arrested development in this movie is much more about her kind of coming into her own.
Yes.
But I love that her mom is like, this is like when you got your eyebrow pierced and I didn't want you to do it. And then when I asked you why you did it, you said, well, it felt good when the guy was putting it in. And she's like, that's
the metaphor you choose in this situation?
Amazing.
And it was the wrong metaphor. I do love that, like, right after this conversation, the doctor comes in, and then, like, immediately after, Zac Efron comes in, because, like, paparazzi's starting to show up in the lobby. So she's, like, having a medical visit with her boss in the medical visit. It's, like, so out of, like, you can't do that. But, like,
yeah.
The doctor just is like, great. This is a famous dude watching me do my job. This is definitely not HIPAA compliant.
Terrible.
Yeah.
But they get back to the house and he's like, hey, Brooke, who's Nicole Kidman. He's like, can Zara and I have a moment? And she's like, sure. And they're like, okay, goodbye. And she's like, get out of the car. Get out. And she's like, look, this is fucking terrible. And he's like, okay, but I'll make you associate producer. And she's just like, I love that her initial reaction is like, fucking gross. And he's like,
yeah,
no, that's why I initially came here. And then I also fucked your mom.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, or whatever.
I actually do believe him because he does say before they have sex that he wants her back, you know?
Yeah, I don't doubt that that's the truth.
Yeah.
I would have just asked for a lot more money if I were her.
Yeah.
But she does agree. I do like that he's like mad that she called him a celebrity. He's like, I'm a movie star, okay?
I love that. He's like, that's derogatory. I am a movie star. I'm not a celebrity.
Yes, but she goes in to talk to her mom and her mom's like, I went a little crazy. I'm allowed to go a little crazy. And I'm like, a little crazy is banging some other 34-year-old. Banging a guy that you know has tortured your daughter, that's insensitive.
And is their boss, like, is currently now their boss again. You know, like, that's...
Yes.
And so Zara's, like, laying down rules. Like, you can't have sex with him ever again. Like, you cannot do that. And, of course, Nicole Kidman's not a monster. So she's like, of course not. I'll never do that. Cut to the next night and they're boning down, but we'll get there.
Yes, because we cut to set the next day at Sunset Gower Studios and they're shooting an insane movie. It reminds me of the Tropic Thunder trailers with Ben Stiller, where he's got the 2 babies and the 2 guns or whatever. And he's like, the world is frozen.
Yeah, it is exactly that.
It is how I felt about the new Ghostbusters trailer.
Yeah, it's great. Because it is like everything's blue screened or whatever. So it's just like this really terrible, like snow cliff maybe is what it is.
Yes.
And he's like shooting off. They look like Nerf guns.
Yeah. Well, they look like the guns from Alien, where you're like, are these future guns? Why do we have these guns?
Yeah. I don't remember John McClane having this type of assault rifle.
He has, for lack of a better description, Naruto hair.
Yes,
like,
he does.
He looks like he's in a Final Fantasy movie.
Honestly, it has that vibe, and I love it. I'm here for it.
If he had a giant fuck-off rectangular sword instead of a gun, it would have been more fitting.
His name was Cloud.
Yeah, and his name was Cloud. He's in like a wild duster.
Yeah, yeah, it's great.
It's bonkers.
But he's like refusing to talk to the director.
Because she's French.
Yeah, and like, why can't she say cut in English? Why can't she just say it in French? It's one word. He's pretty terrible. Like, he's not a great dude.
Yeah, he's not a great dude. But he sends her to go get his dry cleaning and arrange for a translator. Meanwhile, we cut back to Nicole Kidman. And this is where we have a Kelly Rowlands moment. And you might not understand what that means, Todd, but I will explain it to you in just a second.
I do not. Please go on.
In a music video,
yes,
Kelly Rowlands was singing about a man not texting her back.
Yes, and they show Excel. I know this. Yes.
And that she's typing into Excel.
Yes.
In this film, Nicole Kidman is supposed to be writing, and she is, in fact, typing things into the Google search bar. But just like typing way longer than you would for a search, to the point that it's like a paragraph in the Google search bar.
That's so funny.
I rewound it. I was like, this is the funniest thing ever. They cut back to it a couple times. I was like, what was she Googling?
Yeah, she's still writing.
She's still writing
in that search bar. It's a very specific search term, Paige.
Zac Efron single, question mark?
Get around Google Analytics with this long paragraph.
Well, you just get the shitty Google AI that's like, did you mean to ask about this? And then just gives you wrong information.
Yeah, no, shut up, Clippy Google or whatever.
Shut up. Anyway, she puts on one of the fancy dresses and goes to a fancy empty restaurant because he reserved it for her just in case she said yes.
It's crazy and I love it because she does like eventually show up after trying on like 20 dresses.
Sure.
And sort of like, I think having a sweet moment with herself in front of the mirror where she's like, no, I think I am worthy of like love and whatever.
Yeah.
I do think it's shitty that she's going behind her daughter's back.
Yep.
I think I would love for her to find someone who's not her daughter's boss.
Yep.
But I love that for her. I love that she's like, I think coming through the grief of losing her husband and like, is like, maybe I do deserve to find love again. I like that.
Yeah. I do love that we cut over to Stella and Zara working on the script. And she's like, what about the shootout at Victoria's Secret? And she's like, no, that's where he meets Rudolph the Coke dealer. And I'm like, I want to see this movie.
Same.
But we cut back and forth where we cut to the date and she basically is telling him, she's like, I moved to LA because I wanted to be Joan Didion. And I was like, did they use Joan Didion as an example because her husband died? Maybe. Anyway, he kind of is like, I don't really have friends. I kind of fell into acting really young. And so I feel like everyone I know is in the industry and it's just not great.
Yeah. And they like think they know me, but nobody really knows me, you know?
Yeah. But they go to New York, the back lot. They go through the costume department and the chandeliers. It's very, very nice.
It's really sweet. I actually really do love this date.
Yeah, it's very cute.
But, I mean, it is sort of her daughter's boss. So that's like, it's shitty. And it's behind her back. Although at dinner, she does sort of bring that up. She's like, I have to tell her about all this too, you know? But she doesn't.
She doesn't.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, in the scene with Stella and Zara, they introduced that one of their friends from film school sold a reality show called Real Lives of Hollywood Delivery Boys.
Oh, I'd hate watch that show so bad, Paige. I loved that line.
I would watch it so much.
I loved that line. I thought it was
like,
so funny.
Todd and I would be watching this and live texting each other every episode.
Absolutely.
Oh, anyway, she comes home and Zara is like, where the fuck were you? And she's like, oh, we just went to dinner, just dinner. And she's like, uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
And she's like, yeah, no, that's it. It was nice, but that was it. And she's like, cool. Zara, of course, does not believe her. She's immediately like, no, they definitely banged. And then Nicole Kidman calls Kathy Bates and is like, we totally fucking banged. Do you want to hear about it? And Kathy Bates is like, hey, I'm on my own date right now, trying to get it in. So can y'all hang up, please?
Yeah. I do like that Kathy Bates is like always very supportive of Nicole Kidman, like dating and like just honestly even having a fling, if that's all it is, with Zac Efron's character. Right. And I sort of love that. Like she's really supportive for it.
Yeah. We do get a montage of her going out to the coast with Zac Efron for seemingly days.
It's at least a day.
Yeah.
Because they're out there and they're reading what looks like maybe breakfast. And then we see them like grilling out. Like that's all. They're there for a whole day.
I think it's multiple days, to be honest with you. They change outfits.
It might be. I don't know. Yeah. By the way, he broke up with his girlfriend like 3 days ago.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, he's not a good person.
Monster. He's a monster in this movie.
But we cut back to the set. And this is where Zara is like, look, I'm going to be your French translator and I'm going to be a little tough on him. Just no worries. And they're like, great. So they go to give him notes.
I love
and
this.
she's like, hey, you fucking bastard.
Yeah.
Why don't you treat her as badly as you treat the women in your fucking life, you ugly piece of shit? And you're just like.
And it's made even funnier because the director is saying things that are like related to the scene, and like Zara isn't really at all.
Well, she's making them work because they are technically the same note, just phrased in a very mean way.
But they're like way more aggressive and they're like very toned in stop fucking my mom.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we do see him in an ice plunge for 4+ minutes, having been cupped. He's got the cupping marks.
I saw that too, yeah. I love that he, like, towards the end of the scene, and this is where they set up that, like, I don't want to use your writer, Zara, because she's good. I don't love her script. I think the dad's in it too much. It's not his movie.
Which is the way they edited it.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, that was the note Zara gave the writer so that Chris would do the movie, and like you were talking about, that would help get financing for the movie, right?
Yep.
So, like, I did love that, like, okay, so Chris has a good eye for scripts probably too, and Zara does, but was trying to manipulate Chris into doing it.
Right.
You know, because she saw it was a good script initially, but was trying to sort of get it so, like, Chris could be in it.
Yeah.
And I fully believe when they produced that script, Chris is not in it.
Yeah. I think so. I think they do it without him.
Yeah.
But it's probably under his production company.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm sure he's got a piece of it, you know, but he's just not in it.
Right.
Because they went back to the initial script where it had the father less, because it was her story.
Right.
Yeah.
So we cut to he is leaving to go to a benefit, and she's like, okay. She goes home. Her mom is leaving, and she's like, weird. I bet they're going to the same thing. So she goes up to her mom's room to put the dress that Jeannie borrowed back, and she finds the script and finds out that he has hired her mom without talking to her, even though she's an associate producer, which is not good. Like, that's him undermining her job at that point.
Yeah, that's real shitty. Yeah.
That's real shitty.
Like, that's her boss and her mom undermining her job. It's not just her boss. Like, it's both of them. It's real. It's shitty, man. Like, yeah.
And her mom didn't say anything about this. Is the point at which I'm like, no, Zara's right.
Yeah.
This is fucked up.
This is what I wrote in my notes. This movie should be called Why Didn't Anyone Listen to Zara.com? Like, it's like she's right all the time.
Yes. And so she and Jeannie go to the event to basically verify what they think.
Yes. I love when she comes back from her mom's room and she throws the script down on the bed and she's like, shave your pits. We're going out.
Yes.
I lost my mind. It was so funny.
Well, and so she catches her mom and Chris, and she and her mom have a conversation where her mom, I think it was not originally her intention to make her feel like a burden as a child, but like Zara's like, you're not listening to me. I know things about him that would influence your choice here.
Yeah.
And you're coming back at me where like, I didn't get to date. I didn't get to be a woman. And she's like, I was a kid. I couldn't fix that.
Yeah.
Which is like, here's the thing. Do I understand that dating as a parent is incredibly hard? Yes. Is that your kid's fault? Fucking no.
No, not really.
Like,
yeah, like not
you
at
don't
all.
get to yell that at them.
Yeah.
Like, it is a real problem, but she is not like, it's not her fault.
Yeah. But I do understand, like, Nicole Kidman is like, she's also been technically single since her husband died 11 years ago.
Yeah.
And she's, I feel like, sort of letting herself out of the penalty box, which is probably a terrible way of saying that. But I mean that in the way of, like, she feels like she's ready to love again. And I do feel like that's why Kathy Bates is so, like, supportive of any really relationship.
Yes.
Because she wants to see her son's like, widow move on.
Yeah, she cares about her. She wants to see her happy.
I love that relationship so much.
And I think Kathy Bates maybe doesn't know the details of what he was like as a boss. Like, she maybe doesn't know that part. But it's also the same way sometimes in which, like, people's moms will be like, I want you to have grandbabies at any cost, even if it's not a good idea.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's like, you're a little distanced from it.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why that's what you want, but like that would be a very different thing in my life.
Let me explain to you how the economies are different when you were childbearing age and I am childbearing age. Yeah.
Let me explain to you that childcare costs more than my mortgage.
Yeah.
Like, yes. Yeah. Anyway, Zara goes to Jeannie's house, which is where we find out that Jeannie and Malcolm, her boyfriend, have been fighting and things are bad and they are maybe breaking up or already broken up.
Well, we come to find out they already broke up. We don't know that for sure in this scene, although there are definitely clues.
Yeah.
I feel so bad for Jeannie. Like, Jeannie is going through it this movie, and we only get like super short glimpses of it, but I think that serves Zara's story of like she's so consumed with what's going on with her and her life, she doesn't even notice what's going on in Jeannie's. And we only get like legit 4 minutes of Jeannie's story throughout all the scenes she's in.
Yeah.
So like when it's revealed to Zara what's going on with Jeannie, so I bet people in the audience were like, oh shit. Wait, what?
Yeah.
Because you might miss it too. It's that quick.
Oh, I had caught it, but...
Me too.
Yeah.
I got it too. But it's like, it's such a quick thing. And I think that actually serves the story in a weird way.
Yeah.
If you view this as a coming of age tale for Zara, at least.
Well, and I do love how Zara makes amends.
Me too.
For that.
I love that she immediately almost goes and tries to fix that. Like she does go to I don't know if you noticed this, but when her friend kicks her out later, instead of going to like back home, because her mom's sort of kicked her out too, she goes to the chef of Chris's Zac Efron chef. I thought that was so funny. Anyway.
So funny. Anyway, so she stays with them for a day, but what we will find out is Nicole Kidman, or stays with them for a few days.
She does,
Nicole Kidman is basically like, hey, let's talk after the holidays. Don't worry about it. And Kathy Bates is like, all right, everyone come up to Big Bear for Christmas. Fun. They all go up to Big Bear.
Which is where Kathy Bates lives, right? So come to Grandma's for Christmas.
I think she has a house there. I don't know if she lives there. I mean, maybe she does. It's enough of a drive that she could have been in their house in LA just hanging out and then driven back. Yeah. Who knows? Yeah, she may live there. I know they're going up there to see her. I don't know if it's a summer home or a regular home.
Sure, yeah. But it's her place.
Yeah, it's her place. And she's like, fuck it. Invite Chris. Chaos. Let's go. She's like, don't worry. I'll talk to Zara. And she's like, Zara, just be nice and fake it. Like, let's just have a good family time. And Zara's like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
And for a few short scenes, we do seem to see them as a fun family unit making fun of his like crazy movies with invisible zombies that turn your brain into kelp, like nonsense.
Yeah. Which further shows that like Zara has better taste in scripts than he does, and he should listen to her more.
I would bet anything that all of the bad failed scripts we hear about are ones that the writer for this has read from other people. Like, I have a list of terrible script ideas from when I was in film school that other people were writing. And I'm sure any writer who has spent any time around other writers has that same list of like, oh, you won't believe what this person was trying to write. And I really hope that those were real and that they were just ones that passed this person's desk. Anyway, they kind of have like a successful weekend, but I guess that last night before they're going to leave, we get a really great scene with Nicole Kidman and Kathy Bates, where she reveals that she and her son were going to get a divorce, but then he got diagnosed with cancer, and so they didn't. And part of the reason that divorce was going to happen is because she was more successful than him and he could not handle it. Yeah. Which is a very, very real thing that happens to people. And I love that Kathy Bates in that moment is like, God, my son was so stupid. Just immediately like, I'm so sorry. But like, I'm sorry that you felt like you couldn't tell me this because you are more than you are my family, regardless of what happens. Yeah. I would have never gone away. So like, get your happiness. Thank you for being honest, and it'll be fine.
Yeah, it's really sweet. Like, their relationship's amazing.
Yeah, it's great. We cut to them opening gifts, and Zac Efron has gotten Nicole Kidman an anthology of all of her works in one place. Yeah. Which is an incredibly thoughtful, cool gift that is not cheap, but is thoughtful. Like, it's not just a necklace you could have bought anybody. It is like specifically related to her. It is a good gift.
Yeah, it's not just earrings that you buy everyone you break up with.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And he also got Kathy Bates a really nice scarf that really does suit her.
It does.
As they're loading the car, Zara sees the red box for the earrings in his bag, and she knows what that fucking means. She's had to do it multiple times. She's had to go to their house and pick up their shit.
We know at least 3.
Yes, at least 3.
Because we saw one, and then he mentions 2 other people, or she does 2 other people. Yeah.
Yeah, so we know that at least 3 times she has seen these earrings, these same ones. She probably had to go pick them up most of the time.
Yeah.
Then she has dealt with the aftermath, and now it's her mom.
Yeah.
So when they get home, she's like, hey, I'm airing some shit out. Here's all the things that he used to make me do. I do love that she's like, $500 lotion from Japan. He's like, I have eczema there.
I have eczema on my elbows.
Poor guy. Eczema is brutal. But she's like, yeah, one time he asked me for cleaner air, like an apology letter, and he kind of just wants one anyway. And I think it's because he doesn't have any friends and he was trying to find ways to interact with her.
He's like, he needs a pen pal, Paige.
Yes. But she's like, I got carried away. I didn't mean to air all this out. But the thing that I'm really upset about is the earrings, because he would buy these same earrings for women and break up with them, and he's already bought them for you. They are in the bag right here.
Yeah.
And his explanation is, before I thought of the book, I did that instead. And she says, did he take you to New York Street? And I'm like, oh shit. This, like, he has a pattern. And Nicole Kidman's like, fucking leave.
Yeah, Nicole Kidman looks like very devastated about the New York shit, you know?
Oh, yeah.
For it to be revealed that, like, that's his move, you know?
This scene was one of the ones where I was like, Zara knew and nobody listened to her, and now you're going to treat her like shit. And I hate that.
Yep.
Because he leaves, and she's like, that was humiliating. And she's like, how'd you know about New York Street? And she's like, I used to have to call the studio guard on the lot. And she's like, I don't think I handled this great, but like, you needed to know. And Nicole Kidman's basically just like, I wish you hadn't done it this way. You're awful. And I'm like, she has been trying to tell you this entire fucking movie.
Yeah.
She has known all of this the whole time. She has been coming home with horror stories from work. And we know that she has, because you knew to like soothe her after she got home from work. What the fuck is your problem that when she turns out to be fucking right, you're like, how dare you?
Right.
Bitch, how dare you?
I know. I know.
Ugh. Anyway, Zara leaves. She goes to Jeannie's house, where Jeannie's like, yeah, Malcolm and I have been broken up. Unfortunately, like, you were even here when it happened.
For 10 days. It's been 10 days.
Yes. And she's like, and you didn't care because you're too caring about your own shit.
And this scene sort of breaks my heart, because Jeannie is saying, like, I didn't tell you because you've got so much going on. I don't want it to be like too much for you.
Right.
And Zara is saying, how could you not tell me? I'm your friend. I would want to know and support you.
Right.
But she's saying it in a way that you can construe, or Jeannie can construe, and to be like, you're making this about you even.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
That's not at all. And they're just like not hearing each other. And I really do think like a lot of it is in the way Zara is saying what she's saying. But I feel for them in this scene. Like, it sort of breaks my heart a little bit, because I understand why Jeannie's pissed, you know?
Yeah. Well, and I also think that, like, that's why it works when Zara comes back.
Yes, I agree.
And the apology Zara gives. Because
Yeah.
I do think in this moment, they're both upset. They're not hearing each other. And we'll get to it right now, because basically Zara goes to, it's either the chef or the housekeeper. I'm not sure what all is entailed, because sometimes your housekeeper and chef are the same person.
Fair enough.
But she goes to one of Chris's other employees' house. The woman who told her, when you have a twinkle in your eye, take a breath.
Yeah.
And she was so funny in that early scene. But they sit and talk it out. And like, she gets a chance to kind of calm down and disconnect. And then she comes back to Jeannie's house and gives her the super bitch pin.
Yeah.
Because remember, it is for like promotions and STD results. And she is now Malcolm negative.
Yeah, she's negative for Malcolm. Yeah.
Negative for Malcolm.
Or you might say she's Malcolm's ex.
Oh.
Nailed it.
But she basically is like, hey, and she brought all this stuff for New Year's. She's like, I was a terrible friend. I am here for you. Let's hash it all out. Here's the super bitch pin. Happy New Year's.
Yeah.
And she's like, of course.
It's real sweet.
It's real sweet. Her mom texts her on New Year's. She texts her back, but it's kind of curt. And we cut to set.
Yeah.
Where I do love that she's like, you could have been the head reindeer at Bloomingdale's, but instead you're going to get blown up because of this crazy movie.
Because she's talking to what it looks like a very prop reindeer. Like,
yes, it's amazing.
Like you would see it if they like redid the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disney as Christmas. It's like that level of reindeer.
Oof, that would be fun.
I hear Johnny Depp's playing Santa this year.
Ooh, no. Oof.
Yeah.
Anyway, she gets called to his trailer and he's like, I'm not a good guy. And she's like, no, you are. And I was like, don't let him off the hook. He's not.
Honestly, you're not. Yeah, like we've seen you not be a lot in this movie.
And he does say, he's like, I bought the earrings and I did think about breaking up with her because I break up with everything that's good for me. And I was like, sir, that's something you should hash out in therapy. It's not the job of the women you date to fix you. Great.
Right.
Do you want me to make an appointment with your therapist? Like, come on.
Do you want me to get your new assistant to make an appointment with your therapist? Come on.
Yeah. Well, and he's like, I know it's not easy dating me or working for me. And he's like, but she really was different. I actually really loved her. And he's like, and I know you're quitting after this. And she's like, well, I'll make sure you're taken care of. He's like, you always do.
Yeah.
Because she's actually really good at being a producer.
Yeah.
But she, I guess, feels like he's changed.
Which is, he said the right things in one interaction. Like, I don't think he's changed. You know what I'm saying?
Same. But she sees her mom packing because her mom's going to go teach at Princeton for a semester and come back.
Yeah.
And then she's like, hey, I know Chris did a lot of terrible things to me, but I did a lot of terrible things to you. And then she lists off things that are things that she could not help because she was a literal child.
She literally says that, like, when you carried me up the Eiffel Tower when I was 7, I was like, this is not what Chris did to her. You were 7.
No, and I was like, that's parenting. You shouldn't parent your partner. So even if that's the argument you're trying to make, this is not.
Well, she is 16 years his senior. But I will say, I love this scene, though, because it's like very sweet bonding moment between the two of them.
Yes.
And I was here for it.
But she does say, she's like, thank you for being a mom who encouraged my dreams and everything.
Yeah.
And Nicole Kidman does say, like, I love being your mom. I'm sorry that I basically ignored all this shit.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, okay, well, what about Chris? Maybe it's not over. And she's like, it's over. We cut to the grocery store where Kathy Bates has convinced Nicole Kidman to go shopping for melons.
Well, we see Zac Efron and Zara pull up, right?
Right.
And she's like, it'll be fine. We can go to like Ralph's out there, probably is what it is.
It's a Gelson's.
Is it? Okay.
It is.
Fair enough.
It's the Gelson's by Trixie Mattel's house, wherever she happens to live.
Well, how about that? Oh, because you watched the, yeah.
Yeah, they identified it in the Queens You Like to Watch.
Nice. Okay.
It might just be any Gelson's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they walk in there and he's like shopping. And then we see Nicole Kidman pull up and Kathy Bates is like, I need this. What was it? It's like some fruit that she needed to help fight her dementia.
A horned melon.
Yeah.
A horned melon. And you know what? My melons are pretty horny themselves.
I mean, we've seen Kathy Bates' melons be super horny in this movie, Paige.
That's true.
She's been like, yo, get that D to everyone she's talked to.
This is why we love Kathy Bates.
Yes.
We stan Kathy Bates.
Yeah.
Remember her in Waterboy? She is so good. She can be anyone. She's a chameleon.
When she broke that professor's leg with the sledgehammer.
My favorite is when she turns the hospital room into like it's like a giant 4-poster bed with a bunch of like animals.
Yeah.
Fooball the devil. Anyway, essentially they've tricked them into shopping in the produce section, and then she makes the sprinklers go off because she's literally being a producer in the produce section.
Boom! Nailed it. I loved it. I was like, you know what? She is a good producer.
She is. They get together, and then we cut to her mom is reading Second Time Around on NPR, which I assume is her Stella Got Her Groove Back.
It's gotta be, right?
It's gotta be.
How to break it off in a 34-year-old rich, famous person.
Yep. We cut to they made Stella's movie. So Zara's a real producer now. And then we get a short scene between her and Zac Efron where she's clearly in the office working for him. But something either they planted this as to try and make it look real, or they shot this in a CAA office when someone wasn't working, because all the scripts that she hands him or anyone say CAA on it, which is the name of one of the biggest agencies in town.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Creative Artists Agency. So I wondered if maybe they just shot in one of their offices or something.
Yeah. And that's the movie. So having seen the movie, having talked about the movie, what'd you think about A Family Affair?
It is very, very funny. The one thing that doesn't work for me is Nicole Kidman and Zac Efron together. But the rest of the movie I do really like.
Did we talk about their last kiss in the movie?
The one in the grocery store?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We sort of talked about it.
She produced in the produce section.
Yeah, but like Zac Efron and the mom kiss, right? And Nicole Kidman kiss.
Yes.
And I would just like to quickly do a press conference about that.
Okay.
Nicole Kidman kisses like Taylor Swift dances, and I'll be taking no further questions. I can't explain it, Paige, but
You don't
she
need
does.
to.
But she
you
does.
You don't need to. I understood every syllable, and I will also be taking no questions. Do not DM me.
I can't explain it. But watch it, guys.
Yes.
And you're like, oh, she is sort of like shaking it off right now.
Yes.
Anyway, so what did you think about the movie, Paige?
Oh, yeah, no, it was pretty good. It was fun.
Yeah.
And the other stuff I said before, yeah.
It is like, it's on Netflix.
Yeah.
So like, watch it if you have Netflix.
It's good for a Netflix movie.
Yeah, it's great for a Netflix movie, right?
Yeah.
Like, I could totally see this being in theaters and doing fine, you know? But if you have Netflix, check it out. It's definitely worth watching. It is funnier than The Idea of You.
Yes.
I think The Idea of You might be a better movie.
Yes.
But this one I think has my heart because I love Zara's character and Zac Efron's performance is unhinged and I love it.
It is very unhinged. Yeah, no, yeah. It's for a Netflix movie, it's great. It's better than most.
Yeah.
There's actual kind of sex in it. So
yeah, I mean, we do see like it's from the back, but we do see like a topless.
From the back.
Yeah, we do see a topless Nicole Kidman, I guess, as she's breaking it off for Zac Efron. So like, good for her.
Good for her.
Good for her, the movie too. This time it's funny. That's what this movie is, at least on this show.
Yeah. I do think The Idea of You nailed the chemistry between them better.
They do have more chemistry on that. Like, that is a sexier movie than this.
Yeah.
But maybe it's because Anne Hathaway doesn't kiss like Taylor Swift dances, and I'm fine saying that on the record.
That's the most accurate thing I've ever heard. I did order that book. I have not read it yet, but I will report back. The Idea of You. It came the other day. I'll be coming later.
I can't wait to sit through you yelling that at me before we record sometime.
Yeah, probably.
So, Paige, do you have any fun facts for us?
Very few.
Well, here it is with your fun facts.
Very few
Efron,
fun facts. In the movie, when Zara says, what is he, like 20 years younger than you? Nicole Kidman is 20 years older than Zac Efron.
Oh, really?
Even though the characters are only 16 years apart in the movie, yeah.
Yeah, I did, because it is 16 years in the movie, but that's funny that they're actually 20 years apart. That's funny.
Yeah, in the scene where she tells him she is Australian and he says, oh, do you know Margot Robbie? I do. In reality, Zac Efron has never worked with Margot Robbie, but Nicole Kidman has in Bombshell from 2019.
Nice. Okay.
Now, Nicole Kidman and Zac Efron have previously starred together in a kind of May-December relationship scenario in The Paperboy from 2012.
Okay.
Where I believe she is a sex worker and I think he might be some sort of criminal. I didn't see it. But that was the one where there were like rumors about people peeing on people. I don't think it made the final cut. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Okay.
But that movie also exists. And Zac Efron and Kathy Bates went to the same college, Allen Hancock College in Santa Maria, California, which is Central California.
Okay.
Near San Luis Obispo. Not at the same time, I would
Of course.
assume.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Unless she was like there taking a pottery class while he was a freshman. But like, you know. And those are your fun facts.
Well, thank you for those fun facts, Paige. Now is when I would typically do box office, but because this is a Netflix movie, it doesn't have a box office, and because this is a movie that they made for streaming, they don't tell us the budget because there's probably some very creative accounting going on. So I have no idea how much this movie cost to make, and there wasn't any like box office, so we can't really talk about if they made money off of it, but the film garnered 26.8 million views since its launch on June 28th, which is a lot. According to Netflix's domestic chart released on July 8th, the film had held steady at number 2 amongst Netflix originals during its second weekend release and accumulated 31.9 million views in its first week of availability. So, like, it did pretty good coming out on Netflix, but I don't know how much Netflix paid for it, and I don't know what the budget was. So I don't really have a lot of information for you. But that's your box office. Paige, you want to hit us with that romance scale?
Our romance scale is a scale of 1 to 4. But Todd, what are you giving this one?
I'll give this a 2. I will say there are some scenes I would honestly love to be on that date. I don't necessarily love them together in it, but like the dinner date, the playing around and like trying on dress up stuff, like that's fun. I liked it. Outside of that, it's not super sexy. It's just the coming of age tale in my mind for Zara.
Yeah, for me, it's a 1. I think because they're the part that doesn't work for me. Everything else does.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, so it's just a 1 for me. It's a 1 on, if anything, on the roar scale as well, maybe.
Yeah, I agree. I don't have anything for the roar scale. There's not really something sexy on it. I mean, you do see a lot of Zac Efron's abs. So like if you're into that, enjoy.
They're good abs.
Yeah.
They're good. He's not my cup of tea, personally, but they are good abs.
I mean, yeah, they look like Hawaiian rolls.
Delicious.
Anyway, so what do we do after that? So this week, I made you watch A Family Affair, and I realized that I picked 2 movies back to back that are like on theme, but Natalie's younger than me, so I don't get it. Like, anyway, but Paige, what are you making us watch next week? We didn't talk about this. Do you have a movie?
I have 2 movies, potentially. I'm going to let you choose.
Oh, okay.
One is a throwback that is finally on Netflix that had not been for a long time, starring a horror virgin favorite in an early role. It's kind of a cult classic.
Is it Phantom of the Opera? Hang on.
No, it's not.
Oh,
but
okay.
I could understand how you would think that.
Yeah.
It's not that. The other one is a movie that came out, I believe, during pandemic, was mostly streaming, and it's something I've wanted to watch for a long time, but have never seen and haven't had the chance to watch it. But it stars an actress that I've seen in other things and liked her a lot in other things, but it is a newer movie. Do you have thoughts?
I mean, I would obviously do whatever you picked because them's the rules, but like that most recent one sounds pretty good.
All right.
I mean, they both sound pretty good, honestly. Which one's more popular?
I would say the cult classic one is probably more popular.
Well, why don't you do 2 back to back and we can start with whatever one you want.
All right. Then that means that next week, because it is on Netflix, we are watching Muriel's Wedding starring Toni Collette.
Yeah. So many people asked us to do Muriel's Wedding specifically after Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
Yes, because it is also Australian. Yes.
So based on that alone, I'm excited. Although I don't really know a lot about Muriel's Wedding. But that's your homework for next week is to watch Muriel's Wedding.
I am excited. I've never seen all of it. I've seen bits and pieces of it. I've never seen the whole thing. But it was my first boss at Sur La Table that would open the store every day by singing Wicked a cappella. It was one of his favorite movies of all time. And he would constantly tell me that I needed to see it. So I am actually very excited. This goes out to you, Stan.
All I'm singing in my head is it looks like I am stalking all the shelves, 'cause the night crew, they suck stocking shelves.
It was a lot more of The Wizard and I. He used to sing The Wizard and I.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
And so it will be for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And we'll stock all these shelves till I die. Yeah, just like, yeah.
Musicals broke our brain when we were kids, Paige. I blame Russ Tamblyn. Anyway, so Paige, we talked about what their homework was.
Yes.
I'm going to talk about this Spotify comment.
All right.
Off of our most recent episode. How you like that for a segue?
I do.
This one comes from Emily, and this is from the Idea of You episode, because that's the most recent one that came out. And Emily says, I've been waiting for the gang to cover this movie since the day it dropped. I liked this movie, but I loved this episode. Thanks, guys, for another laugh out loud romp. And Emily, you're very welcome. Thank you so much for that awesome comment. We appreciate it. And I'd love to read another 5-star review, but leave us some 5-star reviews so I can do that. The last one, we got one really recently, but it just said missing Mikey. And I was like, I miss Mikey too. Like,
I miss him
that
too.
makes me sad, but like, yeah. But I see you, DN Dogs Fognasi or whatever your name is. Anyway, leave us some 5-star reviews. So yeah, if you guys like this show and want to hear our other show where we talk about horror movies, that is The Horror Virgin. That's the only other podcast I am on, but Paige is also on Cult Podcast, which you can find at Cult Podcast. And you can find us on social media. I am at Todd J. Awesome, literally everywhere. Paige is at Paige Wesley on Instagram.
No, it's at Rampage Wesley on Instagram and TikTok, at Paige Wesley on Twitter.
That's right. All right. So that's where you can find Paige. If you want to find the show, we are at Romancing the Pod Show, right?
Yep, Romancing Pod Show on Twitter.
Well, and Instagram, right?
And Instagram, but it's show SHO because character limits. If you start typing Romancing the Pod, it'll come up.
It'll definitely come up on Instagram. I don't know about Twitter because I haven't posted on Twitter in a hot ass minute. So who knows? But that is where you can find more of us. So yeah, guys, give us a follow. Support the show any way you can. We'd love it.
Smash that like button.
Hell yeah.
That's going to be it for us, you guys. I'm Paige.
And I'm Todd.
And heartbreak feels good.
In a place like this. Heartbreak feels good in a place like this. Bye. Nicole Kidman lives in town, nerds.